MSMEs are the backbone of the industry, and ladies and gentlemen, we heard two eminent speakers, Mr. Pandey and Mr. Barve, share very interesting insights. And when we talk about MSMEs, their contribution to India's manufacturing GDP and also the share of the workforce employed is quite significant. Today, we are privileged to have our esteemed speakers to share their real-life experiences and insights on the topic of how Indian MSMEs can become competitive. It gives me a great pleasure in introducing them. We have from Grindmaster, their director, Mrs. Mohini Kelkar, all the way from Aurangabad. She has joined us. She is one of the few early lady production engineers in India. Her company, Grindmaster, is a global technology player in specialized machines, providing total solutions for surface finishing requirements. We have the next speaker, Mr. Indradev Babu, who is the managing director of UCAM and also the president of Indian Machine Tool Manufacturers Association. The IMTMA is the premium association for machine tool industry. We have from Jaipur, Ms. Babu is from Bangalore. We have from Jaipur, Mr. Kishore Khetan, who is the managing director of Basant Fibertech. He is an entrepreneur in textile engineering and smart energy metering. He has turned around 3 family businesses into successful ventures, manufacturing engineered products. He specializes in entrepreneurship, fiber-friendly spinning, manufacturing, design, and company turnaround strategic planning. Mr. Indradev Babu, could you please share your views on streamlining operations, improving efficiency and productivity, which is paramount to success of all the ventures and especially MSMEs?
Thank you, Mr. Manish. Talking about productivity and efficiency, I think we are talking almost the same item, which is productivity. And also the sphere that what we heard that was already set is more connected with manufacturing, while MSMEs can be in service sectors as well. So let's focus more in the areas and the sphere of manufacturing, the Indian MSME. And as already Mr. Manish, you already mentioned that I grew out of absolutely a small, tiny setup with all the challenges that we heard earlier about the problems of an MSME from Mr. Ramashankar Pandey. All of the pains and the problems that I have gone through, and it resonates to me very well on this subject. So talking about productivity for manufacturing, I can tell you this in my experience, this is the biggest bane of our industry, and also it is because of the ecosystem we have, and already as shared, it is also about the way we are educated, and more also about the way we have the culture that comes up in our activity. We were talking about German MSMEs, Mittelstand, that we just heard about, and I have the pleasure of working closely or partnering with some such companies, and I can tell you that there's a world of difference, and we are pretty much disadvantaged in that the basic cultural background as we are brought up as children, then it goes back there, and then the schooling and the college education that we have are all extremely difficult situation. On top of that, the complexities of our country, the multiple languages brought in, and the expert and the need today of English, wherein our mother tongue is not English. People who are fortunate to have educated in good English medium schools are way ahead, but that is a small percentage of the MSMEs. Particularly in the working sector, whether they are senior, middle or lower, these are some of the challenges. But we're talking about productivity. So the productivity, as it all came out in the previous presentations. It's connected with a lot with the leadership and mindset. Okay, so first of all, it's the productivity can come. I mean, I totally agree that small industries can adopt it. But the challenge for them is they're already in such a mess already. They can't, they are not able to stop and think and solve a problem. Okay. This is the typical problem. They are always behind on deliveries. They're always behind on fund requirements. They're always having employee absenteeism. They're always having power cuts in their factory. So the uncertainties has to be managed. So the way forward is, according to me, if there are any MSME leaders over here, I would ask them, do you have a mentor? It's the first important thing that I would like you to note is you need to have somebody with whom you can bounce off and they can tell you where you are going wrong and you can think about it. So you need to find time to think, because the problem is immense for them to get out. But then as this starts to happen, there is a cultural change that is required. And this is also, resonates with Mr. Pandey's talk about, being able to be a problem-solving person. Okay. So the leadership matters a lot, because how your employee first or customer first, it starts with the leader of the organization. The CEO is most responsible here. If he says, I need to focus on my employees or customers, whatever it is, but both these two are two stakeholders that he cannot, wish away here. I mean, first and foremost, if he's not customer focused, he cannot survive. And the one surprising thing is, I find many entrepreneurs, particularly in the MSME sector, are always blaming customer. I tell you, and any entrepreneur, please stop. You can't blame a customer. However, it is up to you. The ball is in your court to differentiate yourself, find your own ways. I'm sorry, I'm slightly deviating into how an MSME leader should function, but this is going to help him in productive areas. For example, if he is able to motivate his team by not doing a blame game. So
these are building blocks, as you said, to making exactly. The organization accountable and productive. My next question is to two panelists. First, I will ask this question to Mrs. Mohini Kelkar, and I'll ask the same question to Mr. Kishore Khetan. As we heard from Mr. Ramashankar Pandey, quality is your business card, and as the cost of poor quality is very expensive, I mean, it's very high. Could you please highlight the roadmap to achieve world-class quality?
Thanks, Manish, for that remembering our quality policy, which is quite unique. So to say, our quality policy, as you mentioned, is 100 minus 1 is equal to not 99 but equal to 0. And it has indeed multiple meanings in terms of achieving the quality and to be the world class. So somebody will ask, why should we be the world class? My answer to that will be, if you want to survive in today's world, you have to be world class. You have to think of exporting, because it is a global village, all said and done. Pandemic is pushing other countries. Every country wants to be Atmanirbhar, but all said and done, the global players are pouring in India. You see MG Motors, you see SAIC, you see every Chinese company is getting into India, and there is nobody can block them. So the only way is to become a world-class quality player for survival. I'm not saying it is required just to fulfill your export ambitions. It is required for survival. And from that perspective, this 100 minus 1 is equal to 0 was phrased. It has multiple meanings. Let me start from 100. When you talk about achieving world-class quality, I feel that most of the gaps, even within my company, occur in understanding that 100, understanding what is that 100. So, the quality is interlinked. Quality perception is interlinked with the customer expectation. You cannot make it separate. And when it comes to customer expectation linked with the quality, you have to understand it 100%. What exactly is customer wanting? So if you are wanting to be a global player like my company did, it was a really uphill task to understand the customer expectations on quality. It was indeed quite tough, and we had to go through rigorous processes when we exported our first machines way back in 2003-4. This UK company, they sent us back the photos. Let me cite a common man example. And they said, okay, you have done not a bad job, but the parts that you have sent, we did not order the scratches on the parts. It's very simple. Now, how the parts are produced by our companies. If there are scratches on the parts when you send it out, people don't like it. I mean, it's a small thing for MSME or for the companies that are involved. They feel what is there functionally, it is all right. It is small for us. But the perception of customer is important. They say, we have not given the scratches on the drawing. How did you make them? So the thing is, understanding that really quality expectation is very, very important. And then ensuring, so lot of detailing is involved, a lot of checklist. If you come to my company, we have n number of checklists, and only checklist doesn't help. From the senior level, we have the bird's eye view on every checklist and what is happening, whether they are just filled as a procedure, or the intent is properly captured. It is necessary to capture the intent, and one of the speakers spoke earlier that connect with the customer is something which is missing. I think Manoj said that 30% of German Mittelstand, 30% of people working in a company are well connected with the customer. It's again a gap which I can very clearly see, which is really required for achieving the world-class quality. I would quickly mention here, because this is also digitalization and smart kind of angle is there for this event. I wish to say here that what digital can bring to the table. Will it improve the quality of the parts being produced, or the machines, or the products being sold? No. It will be a kind of a watchman, the thing is, it will quickly catch the wrong things happening in your system, something produced in the wrong way or something going wrong. But to basically get that right quality, you really need the right processes. And I feel that many times this is missed out by MSMEs. By this, what I mean is, you really need robust processes. We are working with global players and even MSMEs in China or other countries. The biggest difference we find is they invest in the right technology and the machines that are forward looking. The scale comes later, or the orders come later. In our case, we first see, is BMW going to order a part on me or not? If they are, then okay, I need a level 2 finishing process, and then I'll think of a grindmaster machine. But in China, the similar company in a similar position, they go ahead with the level 3 finish when level 2 is required.
Very well said.
As Mrs. Kelkar rightly pointed out, you have to first define what is quality for you, or rather for your customer. World-class quality can be a very esoteric term. If we do not know exactly what is world-class, and the bigger question is, do our customers need world-class? Like, just to give you a context, suppose you go to a roadside dhaba to have a meal. For you, world class means that you get hot, healthy, and hygienic food delivered to you at a reasonable price within the shortest possible time. You are not looking for an air-conditioned environment or a great ambience or music on the side. You just for you, world class means the quality of the food and the service. So actually, you have to see what is your target market and what the target market needs. In our case, I'll tell you a very pertinent story on this. As Mrs. Kelker said, 100 minus 1 is 0. For us, it was actually 100 minus 2 is 0. And I'll tell you how. We had some kind of a defect rate of less than 2% in our product. And we had this big customer in one of the Southeast Asian countries where we, sold our product. And, during the assembly, one small mistake the fitter did, he just put the shaft in the reverse order and bolted it. A very small mistake. Now, when that product went to the customer, he couldn't fit it into the machine, and that created a big problem. We had to send an engineer twice over to that country to get it rectified, the problem. And that was a huge costly affair. And we not only lost the customer, we also lost our agent, who kind of got a loss of confidence on us. And as a result, we must have, I do not know. I cannot even estimate how much in terms of business we lost. So, one can say I have just a 2% defect rate, but when you are world class, that's not good enough. And we learned a lesson from that. And today I can proudly say that, we hardly have a 0.2% reject rate within our factory. And maybe we are almost at a Six Sigma level when we go out and ship the products to our customers. Because especially in an export market, going wrong once is a huge cost. So I would strongly suggest to all SMEs in India that number one, understand what your customers really need in terms of quality. What is that they need in terms of reliable performance or expected performance from you. Make sure that your systems, processes, and product have zero defect up to that level. Beyond that, if somebody is doing better but he's relating to another customer segment which is not of your concern, you don't have to aspire for that world-class quality. That's the point number one I wanted to make. Point number two I would like to make is that I think Mr. Barve mentioned about the hidden champions and their mindset. You have to basically see what do you aspire for. Suppose you are a cycle repair shop in a village. You have a very local market. All you aspire for is close relationship with your customers, and you are okay. So you don't have to, aspire for world-class quality. But if you are in a business like us, where you are, supplying critical components of machinery worldwide, where the machines have to perform at high performance levels, and the customer's quality and performance depends on your product, then the price is not so much a factor. It's always a factor, but it's not so much of a factor to the customer as the reliability and the confidence in your product. So you have to have your systems and processes and your culture so strong that you have that nothing second best is acceptable. And for that you have to do TPM, you have to do lean management, you may use Six Sigma, you may use Pokayoke, anything. But ultimately it's the culture that yes, I should not have even one complaint from the customer, and my product should perform 100% of the time to 100% of the performance standards I've committed.
The limitation of resources is a challenge faced by MSMEs, and access to advanced technologies is also one of the challenges. Could you please throw some light on the ways of adoption of technology specifically by MSMEs, Dr. Nagarnumi?
MSME has limitations in getting access to advanced facilities. Before that, what I understood is MSME, there are few hidden problems, which of course I'm basically researcher. Last 3 years I'm managing the institute, particularly in the technology marketing. I will give you an example. what normally the industries works. Industry, mostly MSME, whether it is hard to believe or not, but still many MSME survives because of their Jugaad innovation. And the Jugaad innovation is not wrong, as I think Ram Shankar told. It's because this is the only USP for many MSMEs. Mostly it is driven by person specific and also location specific, and it is sometimes it cannot be reproduced, or sometimes yes, it could be applied to the various applications. So now, say for example, of being an MSME, what problems I have? See, one is a passion. Mostly in India, the MSME entrepreneurs are primarily started with their own passion. Otherwise, I don't have any job, but I have money. My father had money. I invested and I started entrepreneur. This is the two extremes. If I want to do innovation or any solutions we wanted to find, what is my options are available? Options is the institute like us. They can come to CMTI or come to CSR lab or go to IITs. Or another option what they have is their company, they can always recruit if they have cash, and they can find a solution through by hiring a consultant experts. But what are the challenges with these two? First is when the people comes to institute like us, so in general it is not affordable in many cases because of the organizational structure setup. That is one. And second is if you wanted to hire an expert consultant or those kind of things, again it is not affordable. And second is retaining that expert, retaining the talent itself is difficult for them. Now one possible solution is because India was very well on the cooperative movement. Somehow this cooperative movement is not existing. The reason is though cluster industry associations and all working, but really in the shop floor that benefits are not reaching. So naturally, though government, there are several schemes of common facility center and then cluster they call technology. I think Ministry of Small Scale Industry, they have a technology centers. But these will not solve the problem of shop floor. The reason is shop floor, irrespective of scale of operation, one has to address the challenges of all 4P. I will call it as a 4P. That 4P is product, process, people, and production. Right? So product means one has to understand what my customers want. That is, he has to understand the design. So what Mr. Ketan said, yes, you cannot, not necessary also, and also you cannot reach to the world class, the so-called world class, but it's always milestone. You set the milestone, as long as you meet the customers. And second is the process. So many times the process is developed elsewhere, and we are this machine or facility process which we use, we just work like a black box. So because the source process which you are hired, it is always works like black box, and I don't know why it is. But unfortunately, manufacturing, I will give another equation. That is 100 minus 100 0, but my equation is 1 plus 1 will never be a 2. Either it is either 2 plus or 2 minus. So now understanding 2 plus and 2 minus or trying to reach to 2 is the challenge MSME face. And the third one is the people, because one is affordability and second is retaining those people is an issue. And many times we MSME also not giving the respect to the internal resource, that is HR, because skilling and upskilling is always challenge for MSME, because there is also threat. If you're skilled, maybe after 6 months you will find a job in the next shop floor who is your otherwise competitor. And the third one is the production. Production is what your question you asked, capital. The capital investment is one, and second is all the equipments, all the facility you cannot integrate or install at your factory shop. So naturally, you need to work with others. If I look at the UK Catapult Center approach, but that approach is not there in India very much. So what they do is that I am aware of MTC, Manufacturing Technology Center to UK. One is one of the Catapult. So they have a membership concept. The membership is as a technology provider and technology users. Maybe for a specific order, X or Y may be a competitor. Definitely X or Y, either of them will win the contract. So then the other guy will be providing a solution. So that means his facility is also utilized, his expertise is also utilized. Of course, some of the institute like MTC and all the work, they facilitate this. I think that is not there. So my suggestion would be to MSME is better you always work as a two-door. One door is always remains closed. Yes, you have to be unique. That is going to be USP, but you keep other door open to help and also to acquire and get the solutions or suggestions from others.
For MSMEs, we are talking about adoption of technology in our processes, not in our products. So we are aware about various. There are huge options of adoption technology. Let's build it up into 3 areas. One would be more customer related. One which is more internal, connected with the manufacturing or your product producing processes, production, and also engineering areas. And then you will have needs for post dispatch service and maintenance. So there's a huge plethora. How does a small company adopt technology? Let me tell you, I have huge failure stories in my own company, my own experience about technology. And at UCAM today, we have adopted a reasonable level of technology, whether it be a CRM or a ERP system or even in a FEA, apart from engineering and monitoring customers and database analytics. But the point is that how does an SME adopt? So the mistake that happened was when we adopted ERP as the two sophisticated SAP many years ago. And I'll tell you, there was more confusion than benefit. So the question was, what are we doing? What is the amount of money we are spending? What are we getting in return? Are we just going to say, oh, we run ERP, SAP, or are we really hitting our bottom lines and top line? Okay. So the challenge for MSMEs is that typically is not well thought out. So let me warn that please do a lot of due diligence. First of all, do you have your processes already working stably? Stable process, is that happening? Now, if you think that adopting an ERP is a panacea for all your on-time delivery issues, you are huge mistaken. Okay, it will not happen. So ERP will definitely give you benefits provided your processes are well defined, and it also allows for flexibility. So we adopted ERP, and then we found that one process, in an exceptional case, a customer asked for something, there was no way that we could do it. It just then we had to go around it, causing more mess. So let's say that you want to adopt CRM. Okay. Now the question is, what are you trying to do? You need database, but finally you need to be very clear. The problem is crystal clarity about what it's expected to deliver, how it is going to help you save costs, how it's going to give you an edge over competition. Then how are you, really productive and dynamic? Strategically, are you going to be one up ahead the competition by adopting this? So, and then role clarity is another important aspect, that and accountability and a project and a review system. So if you don't have these things, then you really have a lot of problem. In fact, the topic that we talked about, productivity, comes first. In fact, I wanted to share that a lot is related with productivity, which is connected with the leadership's thought process and the culture that is driven down. And everything is, they're having a right culture of having suitable metrics, and a PDCA cycle is followed. So PDCA cycle has to become a plan, do, check and act cycle has to become a part of your in your system for your productivity, and it has to, then it can drive back into adopting technologies. When you adopt the technology, then you will have problems. You need to be prepared for it and do a PDCA to go on correcting it, so that you are getting the results. So my point very simply is that the team, really think it out. For example, we did not give the right importance for master data, and the SAP became a big issue because we didn't give such an importance. Now coming to the other side, these are all the negative stories, but I'll tell you how in using technology we were able to have a cutting edge. So one of the things that we did was our delivery process time, that means the order collection to the green signal, pressing the green button for production, the processes that is required for process, was such that it was to add immensely into the lead time of delivery. Actually, production didn't have enough clarity. Once we had this system, we were able to bring down a set of products from a 40-day lead time of delivery to 4 days. We brought down the lead time of this delivery. This is an actual story, which is also documented.
How do MSMEs innovate? What is the roadmap for effective innovation, considering that you're a small organization?
Mr. Ram Shankar Pandey just said that mindset to become unique. Actually, this is the key for innovation. If you have the mindset to become unique, innovation will happen. For MSMEs, they are indeed extremely good in Jugaad. Somebody also said it earlier. The thing is, Jugaad is not bad, but it is a lab experiment. If you want to make it sustainable and robust to work in production, that innovation has to be further worked upon. And I believe that is what is lagging in with the Indian system and with the Indian MSMEs. We are extremely happy to do something different, make some jugaad, so that we are good problem solvers. We have so many gods. The heroism is in the blood. Heroism is in the blood of Indians, and problem solving. They feel extremely happy with problem solving, but getting to the root cause analysis, which helps you make your jugaad sustainable and make it work in production one piece after the other. This is something which is missing. And another thing is mindset of the scale. In China, what happened? China already is riding the scale wave. They have created it. They have created scale for everything and making the world dependent on them. So the scale boat is missed. So now what we can do is we have only the innovation boat to ride on. Because scale is already gone to China, and in fact what we could sell in China mostly, it is on the basis of innovation and being flexible. So India has an advantage of being flexible, being able to customize the technology or the processes to satisfy the customer. So customization and being specialist being in the niche fields. There are multiple niches available, and so I believe that Indian MSMEs have them. So catching those niches to become global is the opportunity. And
Yeah.
I think that innovation is the key to capture the opportunities which are created by China plus strategies of most of the companies. So we have to catch that China plus wave which will bring the business to India, and Indian MSMEs need to scale up now or never.
How we can correlate to quality, grade, reliability, flow, and profitability.
All these things are not inconsistent with each other. You cannot achieve quality without reliability, and you cannot have cash flow and profitability without a consistent quality that meets your customer expectation. So these are all things that tie into one another. Rather, better the quality, better will be your profitability and cash flow, and better will be your reliability, which will in turn help you in advancing your quality further with volume and scale. So these are all consistent. That old adage of there is a cost to quality is thrown out of the window long back. Now there is only either quality or no business. So I don't think there is any inconsistent. All the points he has mentioned, they all go together. They are not inconsistent with each other.
The trend of digitalization is impacting every sector, especially manufacturing sector. Kindly share your views in a minute on digitalization by and for MSMEs.
Yeah, basically what I will try to do is what has happened with respect to digitization is computer integrated manufacturing has been transformed into a smart factory, wherein intelligent machines which were built with intelligent program logic have been now transformed to smart machines which are driven by data and with adaptive controls. This is a little difficult to understand, but you can think of, then you can easily understand. Then factory automation, that means automation within the shop floor or within the machine or the plant have been transformed to distributed automation. And human sense, that is individual intelligence driven, has been replaced by system sensors, that is artificial and AI based algorithm driven. This is, whether it is we want it or not, this is going to be the future. So now, naturally, if I look at MSME, because we have a Samarth Udyog Center, this one for smart manufacturing, we talked to many MSMEs. For them, there are many MSMEs even doesn't have computers. Their level, you can call it as industry 2 level or try the transition of 2 to 3. And second is they won't understand. But according to me, industry 4 is not a technology. It is only the concept. What it emphasizes is you try to understand what you are doing based on the data which is acquired from the real resources, and then you digitize and share to the respective stakeholders. You may be a owner of a company, or is a production manager, or is a marketing guy. Perform the analytics, relevant analytics, because all the analytics have objective functions. Then you find the predictions and bring back to the resources where you generate the data. So now you able to automate, maybe automation at the machine level or the factory level or even at decision making, so that productivity is ensured, rejection is reduced, machine breakdowns, factory breakdowns are reduced. This is actually industry 4. But there are several technology, people call it as a technology pillars, 9 technology pillars of industry 4 and all. But it is very simple. Say, for example, I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm sure many people must be understood. If I ask to make a turning operation, operator can have only flexibility to manage 4 parameters. One is he can increase speed, decrease speed, feed, then maybe to some extent tool height, tool alignments, or intermediately can change the tool. But if any mechanical engineer can list at least 10 to 15 parameters that are attributing to achieving the just surface finish, RA value alone. So now you need to understand the intelligent process, and then you are asking industry 4 or MSME to understand that is not going to happen. So definitely there are many speakers emphasize on the quality. So now If you are looking for ensuring a quality and reproducing the quality, yes, the digitization will help you, but you need to talk. So in that case, you don't need to change the machine. You try to figure out what it could be done. Say, for example, there is a company placed in Pida industrial area here in Bangalore. If I go and ask that, okay, there is an industry 4, this is happening, that is happening, but that is, for him, it is not required. So do I have any solution that will ensure that milling machine running time is currently, if it is a 35%, can I have any solution that ensures 45%? Then only will talk to me. I think that is the kind of solution is required.